Hey everybody, welcome to It Tastes Different Game Reviews. Today we are going to review Serious Sam 4. On the Xbox, it's a port from the September 2020 release on PC. It is developed by Croatian studio Croteam and published by Devolver Digital. It's a sequel to Serious Sam 3, released back in, I believe it was 2009. And let's find out what everybody has to say about it. This was released on Xbox December 7th, 2021. So we're a little late, but we'll let you know what we think. It is a Xbox Game Pass game. So let's go to probably the most negative end of this. Let's go to Pat. Pat, what do you think about Serious Sam?
The most negative end? Did we not play the same game? It's Serious Sam. I mean, you can't take the game serious. That's the whole thing behind it. You can't take it serious. It's it's a comedic game, and that's what it is. For what it is, and for the price we paid, it was pretty good. We got a couple of nights of enjoyment out of it. It didn't take us long to beat it. It was enjoyable as a co-op game. I would imagine single player, you would get just as much out of it, I guess, if you wanted to. I mean, I probably wouldn't have beat the game if it was just me. The game was initially wrought with a lot of bugs because we were trying to run with the holiday crap on, and that just pretty much killed it. But once we turned that off, we had a lot of fun. It's Serious Sam. It's funny. It's got funny little one-liners because that's what the whole shtick of the game is about. It's got cool guns, lots of guts and bullets and killing things with different cool weapons. I mean, what's not to like, right? It's a good little time waster game. I was glad it came on the Game Pass and I didn't have to spend real money on it because I would not have spent real money on it probably. So not take that for what it is. I mean, the game's been in development since forever. I will put it, since like 2000 and I can't even remember what I said, 2000 and when we were looking it up.
I think you said 11.
2011.
Yeah. So this game's been in development and then just came out last year for PC. The Xbox port was pretty buggy. I mean, we got through it all, but it was pretty good. There's nothing negative about it besides it's short. It's a little repetitive. The end boss was probably the most fun and unique thing about it. It was kind of cool. But Nick, what do you think, man? What do you think of Serious Sam 4? Does it live up to the hype of the Serious Sam franchise?
Yeah, it was a pretty good game. I like the older Serious Sams a lot more than this one. But I did enjoy this one. I did enjoy the co-op. I had a lot of fun with that and going through. And the thing about this one compared to the other ones is this one had a lot of areas that were just large open spaces and sometimes not a lot in them, right? There wasn't a lot in those. Now, the Serious Sam has always had kind of open spaces, but not so large as this game. I mean, this game has some levels with some sprawling open areas that just go on forever, it seems. And half the time they throw enemies at you here and there, and most of the time you're thinking this big battle is going to happen, and it's like 10 dudes and that's it, and you're like, oh, okay. But so it's not, out of the Serious Sam series, it's definitely not my favorite one, but I did have fun. It's a great co-op experience, especially if you have Game Pass, then it's perfect. If you have some friends that don't know what to play, you're waiting for maybe some of the other co-op games to come out, this would be a perfect game just to get on and have fun with, because like Pat said, you get big and crazy guns and abilities to be able to use multiple guns and multiple rocket launchers and all sorts of crap, and you're just blowing stuff up and blowing enemies up, and the one-liners are always funny. And I don't know so much about the story. Serious Sam really didn't have much of a story, the old ones. I mean, it had a very loosely story. This kind of tried to give it more of a actual story to it, which the story is fine. It wasn't like anything fantastic. It wasn't horrible. It was just okay, I guess. But ultimately, I think the game is pretty fun. I would say if you have some friends to play with, co-op's definitely key for this game. I think single player, just because of the sprawling levels and stuff like that, it'd be really hard to play it by yourself. But if you have a couple of friends and looking to something to play, this is definitely a good option, especially if you have Game Pass or if it's on sale. Serious Sam tends to go on sale quite often, so you could probably find it for super cheap and pick it up and play it with your buddies. So, but yeah, I think it's worth it, at least at least for cheap or free. Shane, what about you?
I don't know what game you guys are playing. I liked it. It wasn't great, don't get me wrong. Once you definitely turn off the holiday crap, that really jacked the game up badly. So they've definitely got to fix that. But then again, holidays are going, so hell with it. Who needs it? So turn the holiday stuff off. The game is definitely, in my opinion, I think it's better than the previous ones. I think the level designs are better. I think that it actually had a story. I mean, like you said, the first ones were, there was some story-ish stuff to it, but that was about it. This one, actually, they tried to push a narrative-driven story, kind of generic A to B, but it was so funny at parts that it really kept you going. The gunplay on it was really good. The variations in weapons were really good. There was a ton of weapons, just an ass ton of weapons. And I enjoyed the game. The game was a little too long, I thought. I think there was some missions that kind of drug out. There was one mission where you ride motorcycles from point A to B, then you have to get off the bikes and you have to run. And then, if you go over here, there's a side objective where you got to go 4 miles away and down mountains and crap. And then you just get hit wave after wave, but you get new guns doing it too. So, I don't know. It could have been tightened up a bit, but overall, I really enjoy the game. It is not a $60 game. No. $30 game. Definitely. Game Pass game. Awesome. Definitely. There's so many things about Serious Sam that are different in this one, I think, that I really feel that they took it up a step. It is a next-gen, current-gen console exclusive, PC and Steam, of course. The gameplay is better. The story is better. The characters, side characters of the game that you come across and that are on your team are freaking hilarious. There's so much more going for this game than there was previously. That's why I think I like the game so much. Would I play it? Would I have completed it by myself? Probably not. It's just not that good. But when you get with these two knuckleheads, it really does. It really carries itself much better as a cooperative game because you got people to laugh with and, talk shit about, things with while you're playing the game. So that's why I really enjoyed it. Pat, I mean, besides the glitchy dog crap from the very beginning before, Nick turned off all the holiday stuff, I mean, I didn't really find too much else that was real glitchy. I mean, we did have a few disconnects. I mean, that was probably the biggest issue.
We lost progress a few times where when we unlocked the gun and the game crashed, we loaded back in. Yeah. Nick had the gun, but we didn't. So it was just stuff like that was nagging to me. And I'll be honest, the thing that got to me the most that was really annoying is that you basically like halfway through the game get just about every gun under the sun, and then the story makes you pretty much lose all of them, and you're just like, hey, come on, and then you recollect them all. I'm like, okay, whatever. The gadgets were really fun. I mean, I couldn't hold on to a nuke to save my life because it was just too fun just to shoot it off when you get it, and and stuff like that. So and the game leaves a few things. I mean, the game wants you to read. I don't like to read when I'm in the middle of a game like this because I don't know how many times we picked up a heart before. I'm like, what the hell is a heart? What does it do? It doesn't tell you what it does, but
I got to figure that out.
Yeah. I mean, you have to read the little postscripts, the information that pops up and goes into your little journal. It basically will let you revive yourself when you go down. is what it allows you to do.
Hell of that.
You revive yourself, not another player. So,
Gotcha.
there's kind of cool stuff like that. The gadgets are cool. The weapons are cool. But the holiday stuff really killed it. And to be honest with you, for a next gen game, it didn't look enough next gen. It was so wrought with graphical visual crap, especially that must be the port piece portion of it, right? Because it's been out for a year on the PC and in development for 8 years prior to that, just to come over to next gen and look really kind of just really graphically glitchy to be a next gen game. Mind you, we did play it, within a few weeks of it coming out on Xbox, but to me, that's no excuse to be that glitchy. It's just a port, guys. Come on. It's not like you developed the game. It's just port from the PC over to the next gen console. Now, I did not check it out on PlayStation, but because it was on Game Pass, I was like, it's worth the check out for free. I think even if you wanted to buy it on Xbox and have Game Pass, it's only $40. So I think that's what it is on PlayStation as well. Here in the US, $39 or something like that. So, and I think the game's like 12 hours, 10 to 12 hours to beat. I think that's about what we put into it. And we even did all the side quests we could find. We did all those little side quests, go do this and that. And those were probably some of the more funner events, the side quests where it has you go run off and do this or go track down this crew or whatever. But I mean, the comedy is why you play this game, especially with a group of 5-year-olds like us. The comedy is what drives this thing home. It's like going to a Gallagher session, comedy routine. You're going to watch a guy hit a watermelon with a mallet. You already know the shtick of the comedy, but it's still funny. And that's what Serious Sam is, especially with 3 5-year-olds playing it.
Yeah, for sure. It's a fun game. I thought it was a little long in the tooth as well. There's 15 chapters, and I felt like some chapters took a little while to get through them. I figured the game would have ended a long time before it did. It's a pretty lengthy game for a cooperative first-person shooter, where and maybe we're just so used to like games like that being like 6 hours long, and this is close to about 10, 12 hours, like you said, Pat. So, I was like, man, this game goes on forever. But there are 2 times actually where you lose your guns, except for the second time you get them back fairly quickly. But yeah, I think ultimately this game's a lot of fun to play, especially with friends. If you got some friends to play with, it's definitely worth your time. If you got Game Pass, it's definitely worth your time if you got some friends to play with. You can check it out by yourself. It's got a single player in the co-op experience, and they also have a horde mode, which we did check out, and it's pretty much exactly what you would expect, except for they have 3 different maps. I don't know if you unlock other ones when you complete waves, but it didn't seem that way. But you can customize those maps. You can also customize the multiplayer session that you play co-op with some different options like increasing enemy health and various things like that. The 3 different co-op or the 3 different horde maps, the kind of the neat thing about that in this game is all 3 of them had something kind of different about them. The first one was your standard kind of wave format. They all had the wave format, but it was just a standard map with the wave format, and then weapons would appear ever so often, depending on your wave and how many enemies you killed. And then the other ones were like, they would have they were a lot bigger areas. They would have little propellers that would propel you up to different areas, and they would have these different orbs that would pop down, signaling different colors, like green for health and like red for weapons and stuff like that. And they were random, so you just go over there and grab one and hope that you got something good at it. So they were both kind of, the other 2 maps were kind of set up in that way. So it was kind of neat to see that there was 3 different types of gameplay mechanics going on in each one of them. Because I think the other map, even though it had something similar to the balls and everything like that, it had something else that was different from it. So that's a pretty cool. It's horde mode, but it was still fun. We were going to just check it out for a second. We ended up playing it for like probably 30 minutes. So, but we checked out all the maps and everything like that. But and cranked up all the enemy health, so it was like impossible to kill them. But yeah, it's a fun game to play for a weekend or something with friends.
Right, yeah. Pretty much all we did that map was run around for 15 minutes while the enemies just chased us because you couldn't kill them. I turned around at one point and fired 5 shotgun blasts in the face of one of the little enemies, and he didn't die. And I'm like, I'm just going to run around in circles the whole map. And we just ended up running into each other. Is the only reason we all died, because we'd run into each other and all the enemies would be like, oh, look, and just jump on one guy. So it was fun. It was pretty much just see how long you could survive at that point with the enemies that do massive amounts of damage, and you can't really do any damage to them. And just wait, because in this game, you don't got to kill all the enemies in the wave before the next wave starts. They're all time-based. So run around with the first wave enemy still chasing you while the second wave comes out, and the third, and the fourth, and so on and so forth. So it was pretty good. Horde mode's usually somewhat, depends on what you can do in Horde mode, right? I like a Horde mode if you can like build defenses and do stuff like that, but just a Horde mode with more and more enemies becomes kind of, The first map allows you to do that when you're on the dam or whatever it is, you can just put up mortars and stuff like that and try to knock them off before they can get to you. So, Devolver Digital is the publisher of these ones, and then that Croteam, it's a good game, a good co-op game. If you got friends, it's definitely worth a try, in my opinion. If you're by yourself, you have to take it at that. Do you like comedy? Are you 5 years old like us? Then you'll probably like it. It'll probably be funny to play through it at least once, because there's nothing like a bunch of guys running around shouting one-liners and being dumbasses.
Yeah, I enjoyed the game overall. I really did. And it was the co-op aspect that made me enjoy it. Would I buy it at 40? Probably if you two had bought it. So if I know my friends have gotten it, I would get it, because that's really the best way, probably the only way to really play this game is cooperatively. If you have Game Pass, you want to check it out by yourself, go ahead. But cooperatively is the way to play it, especially if you're going to pay for it. You better make sure you got some friends that are willing to pay for it as well. Because I just don't see it worth the $40 single player. I really don't. Multiplayer, that's better for 40. Yeah. So what about you, Nick? You pay for it?
Probably not at 40, but maybe one of the cheaper price. Right now, I believe at the time of the recording, it is $16 on Steam. So if in fact I've already played it, I wouldn't. But if I hadn't, I might pick it up for that. But that'd be about it.
It's been out on the PC for over a year now, so it's definitely always on sale. Every time you turn around, somebody's got it on sale, whether it's whether it's the Steam sale or Humble Bundle's got it or somebody's got it. It's
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What about you, Pat? You gonna pay for it?
I mean, if you guys bought it, I'd pay for it so we can play it. I would probably be egging you guys on to wait for it to go cheaper if it was $40, but like I said, we can make a really bad, crappy co-op game good just by playing it with each other. So that's what we tend to do. So it's really hard to make, in my opinion, it's really hard for them to make a bad co-op game. You're going to have to Final Fantasy 15 it before we give you a really bad co-op review.
Well, they are coming out with a standalone DLC thing, Serious Sam Siberian Mayhem. So we'll have to check that out. It comes out on 25th of January. But other than that, anybody got anything else they'd like to say? All right, guys, again, and as always, thanks for listening. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and tell your friends. Hit that notification button. Definitely give us your feedback. What do you think of the Serious Sam 4? What do you think of the series? Let us know how you feel about it, and let us know if you think we're right or wrong or whatever. We're always here for feedback, and we will see you next time. See ya.